Hello and welcome. Adrian here with the Life Mastery Show live, and I'm on the Gold Coast in Australia. I'm just outside a cafe and I just had a meeting. Well, it's midday. It's time to get into the Life Mastery Show. So a little bit about the show if you're a first timer here. This is all about you. This is all about you asking questions about your life physically, emotionally, mentally and spiritually and all other aspects. And if you're not feeling on track right now in your life, this is a good time to ask a question to see if we can help you to get back on track and stay on track physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually or any other aspect. If you want to know more, about Adrian, about me, go to my website adrianhanks.com. And if you go to the shop, there's some nice free resources in there. There's also some different programs and some offers on that website. So adrianhanks.com is the place to go. So hi to you, hi Alison, hi Donna, and it's great to see people rolling in and listening in and watching in. So I said I'm on the Gold Coast at the moment. I'm in a pretty busy area. You can just see down here. It's somewhere different every week, somewhere different on the planet, or somewhere different in Australia. I've just had a meeting here. I had a breakfast meeting this morning. It's a business breakfast meeting, and so it's been a pretty full day already, just bringing in some new business, some new clients, and just catching up with some friends now. So it's an amazing day here. It's like 30 degrees. There's smoke in the air from the bushfire. We've got a couple of bushfires around the place. There's actually a total fire ban at the moment in the region here on the Gold Coast. So it's pretty unprecedented for September to have a total fire ban, and quite an interesting time. So I'm really celebrating. I'm having an amazing week. Tomorrow is my birthday. So tomorrow I'm 56 years old and I'm in my birthday week. So there was a new moon in Virgo at the beginning of the week. So energetically things are really buzzing for me. So, and I've just had a coffee as well. So I'm on pretty high energy at the moment. So the way this works is you ask the questions, I try and give some response, some clarity, some answers. And I do say to you, I'm not doing any spiritual downloads in terms of connecting to beings on the other side. This is purely about bringing some life mastery process into one's life. So please ask precise and clear questions, not generic questions, and I will do my best to answer them. So hello, there's the second time I've come across your videos. Great timing. So Cody, great. Yeah, it's sometimes a bit of synchronicity is always there, isn't it? If it's 2 or 3 times, maybe there's a connection there. So do go to my website adrianhanks.com and you can book in for a complimentary session with me to help you to get back on track and stay on track and somewhere in your life. So have a wonderful birthday. Thanks. Not a good reception and it keeps being interrupted. So Helen, yeah, is that my end or your end? So if anybody else is having problems with the network, please let me know, and if it is, I might have to go and do a quick move. If it's not just Helen, but if it's me, I will go and move if anybody else is having a problem with the network as well. Good old Telstra network, and yeah, still here. So hopefully it's not this end, and we'll keep going. So please look, if you have a question about something. Last week we had lots of questions on spiritual development, meditation, getting back on track in relationship. So what keeps this show going is you asking the question, and as I reiterate every week, if you're asking a question for yourself, you're probably asking it for somebody else too. Yeah, so remember that. If you're asking a question, you're probably asking it on somebody else's behalf too, because we are working with collective consciousness here. So when will I start when will I start a relationship? So Teresa, as I said previously, I'm not tuning in and doing any psychic work, but what I will say to you is to empower you is if you want to start a relationship, let me move. I'm going to keep walking as I'm talking and see if I can find a better reception spot, because I am on the Wi-Fi here. If it keeps getting buzzy, let me know, and I will endeavour to move and jump off of the free Wi-Fi where I'm sitting. So just let me know if that's continuing to be fuzzy or not. So this is live, it is real, and we do have these challenges. So the question is yeah, I'm not downloading anything psychic. What I will say to answer your question, Teresa, will I start a relationship? Well, that's entirely up to you. Do you have a focus on relationship? Are you clear on what sort of relationship you'd like? Have you done your vision of who you want to bring in terms of that relationship? Because that's the question, because whether you start a relationship really is totally up to you. It's not totally up to the universe. It's about what sort of relationship do you want? When do you want a relationship? Are you ready for a relationship? Have you done enough work on yourself in terms of creating a relationship? Have you done the personal, spiritual relationship education to prepare yourself for the right vibration of the person you want to bring in? Because that's the work, that's the responsibility of getting set for a relationship. And I tell this story, I've shared this a little before. There's a beautiful piece of prose by a lady called Araya Mountain Dreamer, and it's called The Invitation. And unbeknownst to myself, my current wife Eileen, she had it on her wall when we met, and I had it on my wall. And it's a brilliant piece of prose on the vision of how you want your partner to be. So I'm saying, Araya Mountain Dreamer, called The Invitation. Go and Google it, download it, and set your intention of the relationship you want, and then the relationship will happen because you send out that vibration for it. So don't just leave it up to the universe. Take some action. So what I say is visualize it, then plan it, and then take action to get in there. Go to meetings, go to social events, go to dinner with people, and then you'll meet the right people for the relationship. So that's my answer to that one. Annette saying, will I reach financial abundance this year? And once again, Annette, entirely up to you. What's your focus? Have you done your vision on how much you actually want to bring in? So rather than just saying, I want to be wealthy, have you set the actual target of how much money you want in your pocket, in the bank, in your investments? Have you got a global portfolio investment? Are you doing your financial education? And the story I can share from a personal perspective on that is 14 months ago, I was introduced to a company called Skyway Invest Group, where we do raise funds globally through global fundraising initiatives to help new businesses start up. And we've raised over $150 million in the last 4 years. I'm part of that company, I'm a partner in that company. And what we sell to people is financial education. And so if you want to learn some literature around financial education, how to get into global portfolios, how to understand money, understand what the blockages are behind money, how to set it all up, then I would implore you to go and do some education. So PM me or just go to my website, adrianhanks.com, and then go to the link skywaycommunity.com and have a look at that, and get yourself in the mindset of finance and wealth, and then it would start to flow and more abundance will come towards you. Certainly it's happened to me in the last 14 months because I'm focused on the abundance and I'm focused on the finance and I'm learning to understand it. So there's no blockages around abundance, because what stops the abundance, what stops the flow is our mindset. So by educating ourselves with markets, with global portfolios, with having a global investment portfolio, etc., it frees the mind and it puts us into the wealth energy, the abundance energy. I don't know if you know this, but about 80% of people who come into wealth through, winning the lotto or winning something, 80% lose it within the first 3 years because there are blockages in their mind, because of the subconscious lack of understanding around wealth and finance. So you have to educate oneself in that field. So there's the answer to that, Annette. Yes, you will have a great financial abundant year if you learn to educate yourself and get into the mindset of abundance. So skywaycommunity.com, hopefully it could help you in that, and I can certainly support you in that too. So just bear with me. Hopefully that's a better reception, and I'm just actually going to move and go and sit in the shade in another spot. This is what I love about being live and real. Sometimes we have to adjust and we have to do different things. I'm not in my studio, and I'm committed to being on the show every week at midday. Doesn't matter where I am in Australia or on the planet. So I'm just going to go and move and come and sit by my vehicle. So just bear with me, live and real. Where am I right now? That's the name of all my work, is really tuning into that space of where am I right now. So hopefully right now we've gone right into. So hopefully that is much better. So I'm actually sitting in my vehicle now. Beautiful hot day, 30 degrees on the Gold Coast. So thank you, Melissa. Yeah, great advice. I like to give advice rather than doing the downloading from that spiritual perspective. There's plenty of people doing it on the show, and I want to be doing things a little bit. Yeah, thanks, Melissa. It's just that adjustment. And in life, this is actually probably a good example from a metaphor perspective of if something isn't in line, if something is out of place, if we're not in alignment with something, sometimes we have to make the shift. So I had to move myself from the cafe, from being outside. I had to walk a couple of 100 meters. I had to change over from Wi-Fi back onto Telstra. I had to come into my vehicle, and I had to readjust and get the different connection. And that's what we have to do in life. We have to recalibrate sometimes. We have to recalibrate. And the way we recalibrate is to ask ourselves, where am I right now? Physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. What do I have to do to change my paradigm? I was talking to somebody. I was at a business breakfast this morning with 30 people, and we had some one-on-one time. And one lady was there, and I was explaining, particularly for her, because she's looking at changing her diet. And she said, well, I don't really know where to begin. I've sort of got into the habit. I'm in my 50s, and for the last 30 years it's just habitual. I walk into the supermarket, I buy certain foods because it's what I've always done. It's not really healthy. And I said, well, if you want to book me in for a session, our session will be in the supermarket. I will come with you, we will go shopping, and I will take you down aisles to give you the alternative food, the better nutrition food, the organic food. Because what you put in your shopping trolley is a bit like what fuel you put in your car. So when you go to pull up at a service station, if they had a pump that was going to be putting into your car, even if it was cheaper, and it was going to ruin your car, you wouldn't put it in your car. You wouldn't use that pump. If it was half price, something to go in your car, but you knew it was going to break down your car and make it sick, you simply wouldn't put that in the car. And yet we do it all the time in the supermarket. So that's the analogy. We put the petrol or the diesel in the vehicle because we know it's high grade, it's good stuff. It could be ethanol, but it's still good for the car. But it's not rubbish. So if we're not going to put it in our car, even if it was cheaper, we just simply wouldn't do it, because you have to go to the mechanic to fix the car. Well, if you eat rubbish junk food from the supermarket, you probably end up going to the doctor, going to the medical practices, going to practitioners and spending money on that because you're not putting the right thing in the first place. So this lady, I said to her, we can go to the supermarket, I can fill your trolley with really good food, and we start the process of getting you healthy again. So it's about recalibrating, and sometimes we have to do something quite radical, quite different to recalibrate. And this is what I'm trying to do and bring on the show is, what do you need to do to change your life to bring yourself more into alignment? So we've had a question here about relationship, we've had a question here about finance, and that's two aspects of life. The other is the physical, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual, the social, the sexual, the intimate, the relationship side of things. So there's many aspects of life, and we're usually out of kilter or out of alignment with one of them. So if you have a question on any of those things, or something different that you think of, please ask the question, and we'll get you back on track again. We really will. But it's about you empowering yourself to get back on track with some coaching and mentoring and advice support. And that's what I do. Well, it's what I do daily with people, is to help them get back on track. So if things aren't working for you, the only way it's going to change is by you taking action to change it. Because we do the visualization, we do the planning, and then we do the action. VPA. So if you're going to lock anything in today, VPA, vision, plan, then action. And the action is the bit that usually is missing for most people, because they feel it, they think it, they analyze it, they write down all their visions and all their plans, but then the action stage is off the mission, is often missing because the will is not engaged, because we're into bad habits. So please ask away. Let's have some questions flowing, because this show really is all about you. So let's see if we can get some questions flowing about some life mastery aspects. Because as you know, Adrian can talk all day long and fill the space. I can fill the space for hours and hours and hours. I can certainly be on stage and speak for hours and hours and hours. And I can sit here in my car and do exactly the same. But I really would like to get some questions flowing. Right, Cody, yes, thank you, love it. Well, there you go. Okay, question or confirmation or advice to myself is strongly saying to an extent and not getting a minor surgery that I strongly feel is yeah, endometritis, but who am I at? It does not feel this. Okay, look, surgery is an interesting one, Cody, and sometimes surgery is necessary, but a lot of the time there is that emotional connection, because what happens is, and this is quite a simple analogy, is we have an emotional upset, something that we take on emotionally, and it sits in the outer body, it sits outside of the physical body. Yeah, it sits in, if you like, into that astral etheric realm, and that's where the emotions are stored. And then if we don't deal with them, they have to go somewhere else. And what happens is they go into the physical body, and they usually get encapsulated in some sort of cyst or some cancer, or they get caught up in some organ, or they get in the bloodstream, and they go in a little bit deep. And it's a bit like we say the issue gets caught up in the tissue. Yep, so we have an issue, an emotional issue of some sorts, and it gets caught up in the physical body. Now, we can start to undo that by digging into the emotions, by getting some emotional process. And when I do my psychotherapy work and my counseling work, it's a body-based therapy. We go into the body, we release the body, we get the emotions out of the body. And then what people find is when they deal with the emotions, a lot of that physicality of the physical illness or the sickness or whatever's going on starts to dissipate and disappear. And it's quite amazing. And if we're working in with illnesses, with diseases, with different things, if we don't, from my perspective, if we don't deal with the emotion behind it, it'll just keep coming back because it'll go and nestle somewhere else in the body. So for me, it's a holistic process. And sometimes what I say to people is, if you've got some surgery that you think you may have, and you don't really want to go down that path, if you don't have to go down that path, go and do some emotional release work. And then go and get retested. Go and get the x-rays again after you've done the work. Go and get the blood analysis again after you've done the work. Particularly blood analysis, if there's something wrong in the blood and something's picked up, a virus or something in the blood. Because what we do when we do the psychotherapeutic work and we do the body release work is we change the RNA, we change the DNA, we change the cell count, we change the blood structure. And the body actually changes. Even after 1 or 2 sessions, we can really change the physical body. So what I'd say to you, if there's some minor surgery there, have a real good sense of what that surgery is for you, whether you need it now, whether you can do some emotional work first, and then you may have to go and get the surgery. And it might be just a one-off, get it done once, get it out of your system, and then do the work so it doesn't come back. Do the prevention work. Because a lot of it's about the prevention work. And the question would be, and this is what I would do if I was working with you, Cody, I'd be going back to the point of where the entry point was for that to get hold in your body. Can we go back to the point in your history where it entered, energetically and physically? And we can always pinpoint it. We can always pinpoint it. And when we do, we go back to that emotional occurrence that actually opened the gateway for it to come in. Then we help to close that door so there's no re-entry. And the story I use, and for those of you who've been on the show before, you've may have heard before, it's the 3 little pigs, one of the greatest esoteric stories on the planet, where we have one little pig and he's got straw and he tries to build a house, and the wolf comes in, or the disease comes in, or the illness comes in. So he runs away, joins forces with the second little pig, and they use sticks and they build quite a strong house. And the wolf or the disease or the illness or the negative thought gets into that house. So they go to the third pig, and now you've got the body, the mind and the spirit. That's a representation of the 3 pigs. They build a brick house. They light a fire in the chimney. The wolf or the disease or the energy tries to get again. It gets burnt up with the flames in the chimney, and they are safe and nothing can get in. And this is what we have to do. We have to build up the resources and build up the defense systems, physically, emotionally, mentally and spiritually, so these things don't get in. So it's all about prevention. So sometimes we have to go and remove something, but we have to make sure it doesn't come back again. So Cody, I hope that helps. That's what I say to you is, probably do some psychotherapeutic work to look at what's in there, how to get rid of it, and or release it. But if you do need to go to surgery, sometimes that's okay to go in and do the one-off. But I'd be checking out on a deeper level with somebody like myself or another therapist to see what's really sitting there for you. Yep, so hope that helps for you. So Shani, I've been having issues with fear of irrelevant things I think is attached to past trauma. It's like I'm constantly detecting potential threats. Do you have any advice? Rid of them. I fail to use intuition when I'm always in. Yeah, look, fight or flight or freeze. They're the three positions that most people get into. And what I teach people is stillness. How can you be still? How can you be still in your mind, in your body, when there's potential things that you believe may happen? I was talking to somebody today at the breakfast actually, and I'm going to India in October, and for a few weeks. And I said, are you going to India? We're going with the Skyway Invest Group to do a big celebration in Delhi. And the conversation got around, I'm not sure if I'm going. There's actually disharmony right now on the Pakistani-Indian border. It might not be safe. I said, that's fear-based of the future. And I don't live in fear. I don't go somewhere because something may happen. Because that's fear-based of the future. And it'll be linked to an old story. It'll be linked to an old fear. And what is the fear? Name the fear. Fear of what is the biggest? And the biggest fear obviously was I may go and get killed in the conflict. Well, the chance of that is pretty slim, really, really slim. So the real fear is the fear of death. So let's look at the fear of death. Because if it's not in India, it could be the next place you travel to, the next place. And what it does, it stops the freedom of flow of travel because of the fear of death. But let's look at why you're afraid to die. What is it? What's that fear? So and we look at irrelevant things. This is a question here from Shani. Everything is relevant if it's in the mind. Everything is relevant if it's in the mind. That's the first thing. Maybe very, very subtle, but it'll still be relevant to you. So every fear that does come up, yep, because people talk about anxiety. Anxiety is just a posh name for fear. And we just get into the fear and we name it. So write it down, Shani. Every time that feeling comes up, I'm fearful, I'm going into trauma, I'm going into a panic attack, because that's what fear is. It puts us in a panic attack. Write it down. What is it? And get clear on it, name it, and then do something about it. Come and learn some meditation from me. Come and learn some strategies about when those fears come up, what you do about it. Because we have to find strategies around anxiety, fear, trauma. Because we all can get it. And if we let it overtake us, if we let it get into the subconscious mind, it become really deliberating. It can really stop us moving forward. It really can. So the first thing is to name the fear, name the anxiety, name the issue, name the trauma, and then go to somebody who is credible in working in that field, who works with anxiety, works with fear, can teach you meditation and doing artwork or whatever is required to find out what that is and how you can actually overcome it. And then have a tool bag with resources that when it comes up you can deal with it. And I certainly can direct you and help you in that if you'd like to work with me in that space. It's something I specialize in, is in that anxiety space. But a lot of it is about learning meditation, learning stillness, and learning to still the mind, because the mind is an incredible enemy. It really is. It's our greatest gift and it's our greatest enemy. Because it can trigger so much trauma in us with negative thinking, with negative thoughts, with anxiety, with fear. So we have to work with it consciously. And it doesn't really take a lot, Shani. It's just about starting. So I say start the process. Let's have a look at that. Yep. And you might not completely get rid of them. I still get my fears. I still get my doubts. But the more resources I have to work with them, the easier it does get. Public speaking, that's one of the biggest fears for many people. What we do, we teach a process so that people can actually get up on stage and speak. And it's about learning to face the fear. It's about learning to get some resources in place so that when that fear comes up, what do I need to do to calm the fear, to speak, to speak clearly, to speak with a message when we're on stage or when we're speaking in a group. Because public speaking is a big fear. Being in a relationship is a big fear. Speaking one's truth. So name it so that we get out of fight and get out of flight. And then what we do, we learn to connect with each other from what I call the sympathy space, so that we recognize sympathy and antipathy. and that's another whole story, but it's something I go into in my work when I do individual or group work. So Donna, hey, hi Donna. Yes, it was an amazing process. Thank you, Adrian, for setting me up for speaking. Yes, Donna, if you don't mind me sharing, so Donna came to do some work with me several years ago now when I lived in Brisbane, so we're going back probably 5 years ago now, and Donna does amazing work. She does some great empowerment work with people, and we did some great work on public speaking and really looking at those fears and really stepping up and being authentic in the speaking space. And Donna has really broken through, and it's great to see Donna out there now all over social media and out there in the public, giving a public speaking, interviewing people, being up on stage with other people, and just being out there in a beautiful, exuberant self. She's really got into that rainbow energy and Donna energy, and just seeing that growth in people is just beautiful. And but it does take some effort. It does take time, energy, money. TEM, three aspects of when I work in three currencies: time, energy and money, and usually we have to put in all three if we want to break through our fears and our doubts and our insecurities. So yeah, Donna, yeah, it's just great to see you flying, my friend. It really is. So it's so any other questions on here about life mastery? Any other questions about supporting you to break through some of the things in your life to get you back on track and to stay on track? And remember, do go to adrianhanks.com, go to the website, go to the shop and get some of the resources, and also look at some of the offerings and services and programs I have on offer. I do short sort of one-on-one work, but I also have bigger programs, have a 12-week program and also a 12-month program coming up if people want to jump on and do a 12-month mentoring program. I've currently got that on offer, and that starts in October. And I had a conversation, this conversation that continued this morning was the planet would change if people do three things. They have a coach mentor, they have a therapist for the mindset work, and then they have somebody to do the body work, the massage or the yoga or so with them. So we do like the sort of the business side of things in terms of the coaching and getting back on track in life. Then we have the psychotherapeutic coach or counselor or psychotherapist to work, to unravel some of the mindsets and the traumas. And then we do the body work by doing yoga or swimming or gym or massage. And if we have those three things in place in our lives, wow, life changes. And I've been lucky. I've got my mastermind partner. We meet every week. We've been together for 9 years. I've got my coaches that I work with. I've got my therapists I work with, particularly my beautiful wife, who is one of the best therapists on the planet in from my perspective. And then I do my gym work and my running and my energy work. So I have all those things in place. And I say to people, if you haven't got those in place, you're going to really struggle. So my advice is to get all those things in place in your life and do not let them go. Constant coaching, constant therapy, not every day, but maybe once a week or once a month, and constant body work and energy work around the body. And it's really, really, really important. So Cody, yes, thank you. It helps massively, really, very clear, definitely insightful. Yeah, so now Cody, follow through. So you have the vision of it, you have the plan, and now do the action. Actually book in and do something to shift it. Don't just keep it in the theory space. I meet so many people who keep everything in the theory space. I meet people who want to become speakers or coaches or energy workers, and they do not go and get the teacher, they do not go and get the coach, they do not go and get the mentor, and they jump in with both feet, and then they burn out very, very quickly, or they get in the confusion space and don't know where to go next, and then they start to make up stuff or they guess stuff. And when we're playing with people's lives, when we're working with people real life time, it's not a game. We have to be qualified in that space of knowing what we're talking about. And that comes from being taught and also from experience. So I say to people, if I'm going to work with somebody, who is your teacher? What is your spiritual path? What is your experience? And I check them out. I really do check people out. And if I know somebody's only been in a certain market for a few weeks or months because they've done a weekend course on something, personally, I don't go near them, because my level of work myself after 25 years demands that I need to go to the next level. So I'm always checking out people's credentials of where they're at from their experience, their training, but more importantly, who are their teachers. So for instance, I teach meditation. If you go onto my Facebook page, you'll see I did a 1-hour webinar on meditation a few nights ago. Now, the reason I can do that is because, one, I've been meditating for over 20 years. Two, I've actually had some great meditation teachers that taught me how to actually present meditation, and I've done meditation teacher training to be able to teach meditation and to present meditation. So I have those aspects. So it's not guesswork. You know, I have the credentials in terms of the teachers I've had and the experience I've had. Yeah, professional experience and personal experience in meditating. So check people out. Really do check people out if you want the real value. Yeah. So Cody. So look, let's have another couple of questions. You know, time gets away, and said Adrian can talk all day and fill in the space, but it really is about you. And remember, if you ask a question, the question is not always necessarily about just you. You will be asking the question on somebody else's behalf, because we do work in the collective consciousness as human beings. So please, if you do have a question, then do ask it, because you will be helping other people too. So remember, it's all about questions on the physical, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual, the relationship, the sexual, the intimate, and other aspects of life. So if you need to get back on track in any aspect of life, then please do ask a question, and we'll see what we can do to support you. So sometimes a bit of quiet time is nice too. So a little bit quiet today on the questions, that's okay. Every week is so different. I think today's lesson was all about recalibration. It's what I had to do from moving from the cafe and the Wi-Fi that was pretty average to coming back onto the main network and actually sitting in my car and being out here just in a little bit more of a quiet space, a bit of a space where there weren't so many buildings. That was obviously stopping the flow of the internet connection. So a lot of it's about recalibration, and that's very much what we have to do in our lives, is recalibrate and bring ourselves back into the space of aligning ourselves again. And if you want to do that and you want some resources on that, please go to my website, adrianhanks.com. You can actually go to the store and download a free journal, and there's also some free videos on there too. And if you go to the media section, there's plenty of different interviews and videos in the media section and resources on my website too. So that is adrianhanks.com, and you can be led down the rabbit hole with much of what I'm doing there. I love to work with people, I love to share, love to get people back on track. There's nothing greater for me than meeting somebody, doing some work with them, and then meeting them a few days or weeks or months later and seeing the change physically or emotionally or mentally or spiritually or intelligently, or the way they're communicating, the way they're speaking, the way they're engaging. It's just a magic moment when I see that change in people. It's very, very special. And we are changing on the planet. There is a wave of consciousness coming down right now, and if we don't get the support to be on that wave, it's very easy to get fried in that energy, because it's a pretty high intensity energy. And if we're not prepared for it, if we're not doing the work for it and getting our body and our mind in tune for those frequencies, it's easy to get fried and it's easy to get confused in that space. So preparation is what I advise. So Alison, is it better to have many teachers or mentors, or just have a few and to study on your own? Great question, Alison. Look, I'm a great advocate for having one mentor for one thing, and then if that mentor doesn't cover up a specific aspect, then go and get another mentor in that field. So for instance, a mentor that I've been using for many years in America, Eric, he's very much about business coaching, and he teaches things about how to do scripting for business and how to build the business from connection with people and doing website scripts and on-stage scripts, etc. So I use him for my scripting and for getting my message out there, and for building what we call the sales mounting of how to move through to get a client. And that is invaluable just in terms of getting clients on board and working in that space. Now, in terms of the financial, I've taken on my financial coach in the last 14 months with Andrei Hovato. He's a Russian. I've actually been to Belarus a couple of times, sat in his master classes. I've been to Kuala Lumpur. I'll be going to India, and I've been following all his work online in his financial mastery classes, and that's through Skyway Invest Group, which is the multi-level crowd investing company that I'm involved with. So I focused on that. In terms of my spiritual work, my spiritual teacher has been Rudolf Steiner for the last 25 years now. He's not here physically, but he's left enough material behind in terms of his lectures and his books and his clear path of a spiritual path that I can follow that. And notwithstanding, there are people within that framework of that spiritual path of anthroposophy and Rosicrucianism, where there are teachers I go to who are live teachers, where I go and further my study to, and I am part of an esoteric circle where we do esoteric study. So predominantly I've got my spiritual teacher in Rudolf Steiner, I've got my financial teacher, I've got my business coach, I've got another coach who helps me in Byron Bay when I'm a bit stuck in my business, and then I've got my mastermind partner Barry, where we've been together for 9 years doing our mastermind every week. So in essence I've got 4 or 5 coaches that I use and I tune into. But in terms of that mentor, I would suggest a mentoring program for a time, like, I'm running a 12-month mentoring program with one person steering you is a great thing to do. But I would suggest don't get 2 mentors who are delivering the same sort of thing, as it can get confusing because they have a couple of different ways of delivering something. Yeah. So I try to steer clear of 2 mentors steering this or bringing the same information, because that can get very confusing. So for instance, if I'm doing my counseling and psychotherapy, I ask the client, please don't be with another psychotherapist at the same time, and I'll actually leave them and let them go to the other one, because it's too confusing to have 2 at the same time. That's my personal take. So currently I'm running a mastermind group. We have 7 people in the group. We've been going since January. So I'm teaching them a mastermind principle, and I'm saying to them, go and get a bit more information, but don't join another mastermind group because it'll be different, it'll be confusing. So that's my answer to that, Alison. I hope that helps you. Studying by oneself is great, but we have to be a bit cautious on the depth we go to when we study by ourselves, because the fear or the doubt or the lack of connection can actually stop us from studying, because the mind may stop us if we're not pushed through the study process with a coach or a teacher. And we can become workshop junkies, still staying at base 1 and not going down the rabbit hole deeper in our study if we don't have the teacher. So I hope that helps, and very happy to have a conversation with you, Alison, if you want to give me a call, and let's spend some time to ascertain what you're specifically looking for in terms of a teacher or mentor. And obviously if it's me, it'd be wonderful to work with you, but if it's not, I can certainly help you to find the right people for you, and it may be 2 or 3 people, not just 1. So I hope that helps, and thank you. It was a really, really fantastic question, so well done. So any other questions out there? Yeah, and really clear, precise questions like that really help. Please, try not to do generic questions like, will I be in a relationship? Because my answer will be, it depends on you. So Cody, that's interesting. Teachers in tune with angels and beings, or whatnot. Maybe it's time to stretch myself. I haven't thought of teachers or people who share and learn. Definitely feeling more. Used to travel. I have an incredible friendship left connection. Moved to the countryside, a nice feeling tune and moved in. Thank you. And a good analogy I use, thank you, Cody. A good analogy I use is I can tinker under the engine of my car, and change the oil and put water for the windscreen wipers, etc. But when it comes to actually getting my car running smoothly, I go to a mechanic who can really look after my car well. I want the best mechanic to look after my car. And if I'm working on my body or my soul or my mind or my spirit, I want the best teacher to be able to put me in tune. And like I said, that's why I check out my teachers or my mentors or my guides, to make sure they're a bit like my mechanic, that when I know he's under the hood and he's fixing my engine, and getting things to get my car running smoothly, he knows exactly what he's doing. He's trained, he's experienced, he's had his teacher, he's been to college or wherever he's been to learn to be a mechanic, and he's had the teachers, he's had the experience. And I jump in my car and I know my car is running smoothly because my experience is I'm driving my car and it feels smooth. And I want to feel that with my mind, with my body, with my spirit, if I'm going to work with teachers. So they are my soul mechanic, they're my spiritual mechanic, they're my body mechanic. So it's really important to check that out and get the best people for the job. So sometimes it's about spending money and the time and the energy. And I say to people, I'm not the cheapest coach, mentor, psychotherapist out there. I'm sort of mid-range. It's the market I choose to be in, and what I deliver is quality. So people pay more than others, but I know when they work with me, they come out with results. They actually come out with results. So it's the investment of what one's willing to put in time, energy and money to get the result back. Yeah, and I think that's really important. So you have to weigh it up, but sometimes it's about stretching oneself to go to the next level of teacher or mentor or healer. Yep. Because if you're not getting results, I would suggest stop going. If you're getting great results, that's fantastic. And if you're not actually engaged, it might be time to invest in yourself and put that time and energy and money in, just like you do with your vehicle. Yeah, just like you do with your vehicle. Go to the mechanic that's going to get the best for you, for your body, your soul, your mind, and your spirit. I know when I put in my time and energy reading one of the lectures or one of the books by Rudolf Steiner, I know I'm going to get value from it. I'm currently reading the first series of the Karmic Lectures by Steiner, and I've been reading it now for a couple of months, and I'm taking notes and I'm diving into my own past life experiences and getting an understanding of how I can work with people a bit deeper in that past life aspect. And I'm rereading the lectures again and again and again after 20 years of study, because I know the source it comes from is pure. I know that the source it comes from is strong and true. I believe in the teacher of Rudolf Steiner. So I know what I'm getting, for me, is the real McCoy, it's the real deal. And I think it's really important to get to that space with whatever we're working in. So I hope that helps with that question or comment as well from Cody. So hi Raywin, great to see you on here too. So any other questions, because the show's all about you, it's about your comments or your questions to keep the show buzzing for a communication process, so we can actually help you to get on track and stay on track physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and all other aspects of life. And I've mentioned before, jump onto my website, adrianhanks.com. You can go to the shop, you can go to the media page, watch some videos and download some free information, and also see what programs and services I have to offer. And this service that Sarah Watkins has on the Spiritual Event Directory is just incredible. I just want to put a message out for what Sarah's doing. I actually went to Sarah's place yesterday to collect my book. I won a book on Spiritual Event Directory. Earth, the toughest a boot camp in the universe, isn't it just? It's a very tough place to be sometimes. So I went to collect my winning book, and Sarah's beautiful little daughter was there, another fave Virgo now on the planet. I love my Virgo connections, and Sarah's daughter's one of them. And just a heads up for Sarah, an amazing job she's doing of holding this space for us all to come on as presenters, as experts in our fields, to have the platform to come on and share with you. So a big heads up and thank you to Sarah Watkins for actually having this for us to jump onto. Absolutely just quite incredible. So Yeah, so okay, Cody, yes, I feel some guidance, clarity is always helpful. Thank you. I will have look-see into your page. Yep, Cody, go and have a look. Yeah, click around, have a play around on the pages, see what gels, see what resonates, and if something resonates with you with my work, it would be amazing and lovely to work with you. It's just that community of working with people and helping people to get more conscious about what they do with their bodies, with their minds, with their souls, and with their spirits, and actually understanding that process, understanding the evolution of humanity, understanding the evolution of the human being, looking at the different cycles that we go through life. I work with the 7-year cycle and also the 3 and 9 year cycle, but predominantly the 7-year cycle of what happens to us as human beings and what we can expect to happen to us in our life from a cosmic perspective. And having an understanding of that helps me in my work to explain to people what they might expect to be going through emotionally or spiritually on their journey as well. So having some reference points and having some context is something I love to work with. I don't like to work without having a context. If I'm talking about the hierarchical system of the cosmos in terms of the angels and the archai and the archangels and all the other levels of beings through that system, I like to have a context and understanding of it so that I'm not just out there guessing. Because guessing is, one thing, it's not honouring the client, it's not honouring the student when it's guesswork. So I like to work in context. I like to work with an understanding of where I'm working from, and I certainly don't like to guess when I'm working with people, because I'm working with people's real lives. This is real life stuff, We are working to help people in real life situations to get more conscious in their life. So I don't try and guess about past lives. I don't try and guess about who's going to meet what, when, where, who and when. This is structured consciousness in helping people, and that's the way I love to work. So if that's your bent, if that's how you like to work too, then certainly connect with me and we can work from that contextual perspective of getting you through life through the visual and then the planning and then getting into the action. So thank you for all the comments today thus far, and let's keep it going to see if there are any more questions from you. Meanwhile, I'm just going to have a sip of water. Said it's pretty hot down here on the Gold Coast. It's 30 plus degrees already. It's a total fire ban, which is going to be lifted tomorrow night at midnight. So tomorrow's my birthday, so all day tomorrow there's a total fire ban. I hope that doesn't mean I can't have candles lit on my birthday cake. That would be quite interesting. Total fire ban, can't have candles. Probably can have them indoors, but I certainly wouldn't be allowed to have candles outside with a naked flame. So any birthday celebrations tomorrow have to be indoors, because it is a total fire ban, which includes naked flames outside, even if it's little candles. That's quite funny from that perspective. So Arlene, if you're listening in and you have a birthday cake planned for me tomorrow, it has to be an indoor celebration with naked flames. We cannot do that outside because we do have a total fire ban on the Gold Coast. Quite funny to think that's happening on my birthday. I love birthdays. I love tuning into the energy. It's always a time of getting a sense of what's next. What does the next year hold for me? And I've certainly got plenty of plans for the next 12 months of my life. I've got my novels being published. I'll be doing lots of traveling. I'm off to India in October. I'll be doing lots of traveling next year as well. I'll be putting out my programs next year. I'll be traveling. I'll be presenting on stage a lot more and doing more group work next year, and getting into lots and lots of things. I've got lots of plans for next year, so I've visualized it. I'm now in the planning stage, and then it's about taking action to bring all those things into fruition. And I was certainly bringing some of my coaches on board to help me to do that, particularly my mastermind partner, and getting some energy work done as well for some of those psychological blocks I have that maybe stop me actually bringing those to fruition. So they will be certainly brought on board to be part of my team, because it's all about working with a team to break forth in all those areas of our lives. So if you haven't got your team set yet, I would suggest get a pen and paper and write down where you think you need a team to support you. Who are your coaches? Who are your teachers? Who are your body workers? Who are your psychotherapists? what's your team, which bank you're using, which accountant you're using. They're part of the team too. Where's your financial advisor? Part of your team too. So have a team around you. Get clear on the team. Because people often say to me, they try to book me up for something, for some course, or they want me to be their student or their mentee, trainee, or they want me to get signed up in their system. And usually I have to look for the gap and say, is that already filled in my life? And most often I say to people, look, I'm sorry, I've actually already got that person in my life. So thank you for the offer, but I'm already full with that. I've already got that person in my life. However, if somebody comes along and there's a gap, I will then consider putting them in to fill that gap. But mostly in my life, to be honest, I'm quite covered with everything in there. I am currently looking for one thing. For anybody out there, I'm looking for an accountant to help me with my not-for-profit company. So that's part of my team that I haven't currently got covered. So I'm actually searching for that right now, because that's part of my team support, is an accountant to help me with my not-for-profit charity company, Blue Wren Foundation. So that's a little bit of a team missing. So I'm in the process of filling that gap. And that's what we have to do in our lives, is fill the gap with our team when it's not there in our lives. So totally agree, Adrian. A team is so important. Yeah, Donna, it really, really is on all levels. Whether it's that mentor to help us every week or every month, and whether it's the psychic team or the massage team or whatever it is, the fitness team, the gym. If you belong to a gym, that's part of your team. Particularly if there's a gym instructor, that's part of your team. Yes, me too. It's important to know who your team is long before you're even looking for them, so that they show up. Absolutely. Put the message out there to the universe. Have your piece of paper, have you in the middle, have your arrows going out, you're the central hub, and put all your circles or squares around it for all the support that you need for your team, and including a spiritual support team. So I have processes for that to give to my students, to give to my clients. I have a ready-made formula to fill that out, ready to go. So it's no guesswork. It's like the formula's there. It's been working for 15 years. I still use it. People fill out the formula. They put people or beings into that formula, and then we attract them or we bring them in, and suddenly the team is there. And it's like, whoa, my life is improving, my business is improving, my spiritual connection's improving, my connections are improving, my health is improving. Guess why? Because I've got a team in place. So the teamwork is very important. So it seems like today it's very much about getting back on track with the team. There's usually something that gets brought up on these shows every week, and today is very much about the team building. So if you like Adrian as part of your team in terms of that mentoring or coaching or other aspect, please do give me a call, and I would be honored to be part of your team for a short time, a medium time, or even long term if you want to sign up for that 12 months mentoring program that I have on offer. I've got some good people coming on board, and it will be a very amazing journey on helping people to become more into alignment with themselves. So that is there. I'm just having a quick look. It's 10 minutes to the top of the hour, so we've got another 10 minutes. So let's see if we can get a question or two from you to help you to get back on track and stay on track on some area of your life right now. So I'm just going to get another sip of water. So it's pretty hot here. I'm still in my business shirt. I've still got my business tag on, if you can see it here. So Adrian Hanks with my sweet badge on. There we go. This was from when I was in Belarus a few months ago. I've been to Belarus a couple of times for the Skyway Invest Group, which is another stream of income that I have in my life, another business I have in my life, and quite a bit of my time is now invested in that company, because that's what's going to set me up in my financial world. And also I get clients from that too, because people meet me and they want something from me, whether it's to learn to meditate or get some aspect of their life back in alignment. So we are a growing family, the Swig family, of nearly 1 million strong across the planet. And when I go to these functions, Kuala Lumpur, India, Belarus, I meet hundreds and hundreds of people from across the globe. So I'm actually part of a global network, a global family that is absolutely incredible to be part of. And if you want to come along and be part of that too and get some financial education, please, adrianhanks.com, or go to Skyway, 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 community.com, and have a look. And if you want to sign up for free, you can. And if you want to put some dollars in to get some more financial education, I would say it's probably a great thing for you to do. So does your book cover all of this? So Alison, my book, my Where Am I Right Now book, covers a lot of what I'm sharing right now, and I'm in the process at the moment of getting that book re-edited and republished, but you can still get that book. In fact, I've still got the old version, it's still available, and it covers much of this, and it's very much a doing book. So there are quite a lot of exercises in the book to help bring yourself into alignment. I've got quite a few different headings in the book. I'll read them out to you. Understanding ourselves from a holistic and spiritual perspective. So I talk about the fourfold human being. I talk about the 6 degrees of conscious development, that I've actually developed those 6 degrees myself and wrote about them. Also talk about sacred sexuality. I talk about life purpose and vocation, goal setting. So lots and lots of different things. Looking at ending the blame game. That's a good one. Stop blaming other people for a situation and taking responsibility is one of my favorite chapters in the whole book. So I am rewriting the book, but this is still available and still very, very useful. It's just that I'm updating it and adding more to the book, so actually people will get more as I'm developing. I'm sharing more of that development too. So absolutely, that book will help to give you a resource and some exercises to work with. The other thing I'll suggest, Alison, is go and download the free journal and use the journal as a resource. You can also order the ready-made copy from me. You pay for it and I'll post it out, but you can download the free version and print it off yourself. And I'd say that journal, if you seriously use that journal for a week or a couple of weeks every single day, it'll totally change your outlook in life and take you to another level. It'll help you to get into that, what I call the 80-20 principle, or even the 90-10 principle, where you're living life in that 80 or 90% principle, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and other aspects of your life, by doing the daily journal. So lots of great resources for you there to share. So yeah, it will cover most of what I'm speaking about, Alison. And I suggest also, sign in, have a free 30-minute consultation with me that you can book in on my website, and see if I'm somebody that you'd actually engage with and work with to bring you to the next level of your own well-being and your own consciousness. So it's always good to check it out by having that conversation. So Donna has worked with me, and we've done lots of things together, and Donna's on here and she attests to that work, as you know, particularly in the public speaking arena. And so yeah, it's lovely when people jump on here who have actually worked with in real life as well. So thank you, Donna, for supporting this and being on here. And Alison, yeah, just make it a connection. And to everybody else on here too, who's been on here, spent the time and the energy to be on here. So if there's any other questions for the next 5 minutes, whether it's elaborating on a question we've had already or whether it's a new question, now is your probably last chance to jump on and ask that question. And I love getting the little smileys popping up and the little hearts and the little pictures and the little flashes of light. It makes it real and live and fun, because I do like to have fun. I do like to engage in that joy space, because a lot of people, they lack joy in their lives, they lack fun in their lives, they lack that connection of getting those endorphins happening in their life. So part of this show is about having fun and connecting in a fun and light way too, and being very real. As I said this morning, I had to move out of the cafe, had to switch from Wi-Fi back into the mainstream, back out of the matrix, and it's just fun and real, and I think that's really important as well. So yeah, thank you to Alison for being here and actually taking the time to use your little digits to type in some words on the screen. It's a very thankful space for me when people do that, because it's people like you, Alison and Donna and others who've commented on here that really help to keep the show going, so that it's not just Adrian speaking fully for 1 hour without these comments. So I really want to honour you and thank you for helping me to help you to be on the show. So now you are looking a little heat affected in your face. Yeah, it's very hot here. Donna down on the Gold Coast. It's I'm actually under the shade. I'm in a car park just to show you, so I do have some shade. Thankfully I'm not actually out in the sun, but it is warming up and I'm not in my t-shirt yet. I think the next port of call is going from here. I'm about 4 minutes from Southport, so I think it's a case of going from here. I've got my bathers in the car and going to do a bit of body surfing in the ocean for a little short while to cool off, because it is getting pretty warm. Yeah, I'm heating up a little bit. I've got my Byron Bay tan from when I was down in Byron Bay last week on the beach and got a bit of colour. But yes, it certainly is warming up. It's it's 1 o'clock. It's the hottest part of the day, so thankfully I am in the shade. But it's a quick swim, a quick body surf, and then back home again and start to prepare for my really fantastic birthday tomorrow. That's really super exciting. Yeah, so yeah, a little heat affected and yeah, just a bit camera shy, so a little bit of a blush, joke. I don't really blush very often in front of the camera. This is definitely heat, and it's quite thick out there because of the smoke. I said there's a fire up at Tambourine Mountain, so if you look up into the sky there, you can see it's quite grey with the smoke. There's a lot of particles in the sky. A lot of people with asthma particularly are being affected. Quite interested actually, a lady this morning was complaining about her asthma and the smoke particles, and I recognized while she was complaining about the asthma, she was drinking a Coca-Cola and eating really bad food. And no disrespect, but she was a little bit overweight and was struggling with her breathing, and she was quite an anxious person. So it was like, it's okay to blame the smoke, but let's go back to self-responsibility about the diet, the well-being, learning about dealing with anxiety, because a lot of asthma is around anxiety and fear, and going back to the cause of that and actually healing that, getting out of being asthmatic. I've worked with many asthmatics over the years, particularly men who are asthmatic, and I teach them to play the didgeridoo and circular breathing, and the asthma is gone. I teach them how to meditate and the asthma disappears because they get out of anxiety. So let's get to the root cause of the asthma. It's not the smoke. The smoke doesn't cause the asthma. What it does, it triggers the asthma because the asthma energy is inside. So that's a whole nother story, but I just want to put it into perspective and into context. Remember I said before, I like to work in context. So let's bring this into context. The smoke doesn't cause the asthma. The asthma is there and the smoke is triggering it. So let's go back to what's caused it in the first place. Let's heal that through the psychotherapeutic work to see where the trigger of the anxiety is that caused the asthma in the first place. So that's how I work. I work systematically through the process. Interesting, a phone call from my mastermind partner Barry just at the end, just at 1 o'clock. So I told him to phone just after 1 after my show. So that's probably my it's 1 o'clock on the knocker. So Adrian is going to say goodbye to you. It's been a fun time. It's been an interesting time with all the changes of jumping backwards and forwards and in the heat, but please do let other people know about the show. It's at 12 o'clock midday Australian Eastern Standard Time every Thursday, but please, more than anything, go to that website, check it out, and do not hesitate to contact me so that possibly do some fantastic work together. So thank you again for being here. Love and blessings to you, and catch up with you very, very, very soon. See ya.